if they want to. Talk don't bother me. I want the whole wide world to know that I love you so.
And welcome to Let Them Talk. I'm Paul DeRienzo.
And I'm Miss Joan Moossy.
And our guest, Selena Blake, is a filmmaker who made an incredible, I mean, that's just a bad word for a great movie about her community. And her community is represented, of course, by the photograph behind us. Many might recognize it as the Queensbridge Bridge, the Feeling Groovy Bridge, the 59th Street Bridge. It goes by a lot of names. It's a beautiful bridge, a very busy workaday bridge here in New York. On one side is Manhattan, and on the other side is a community called the Queensborough Houses, right?
Queensbridge Houses.
Queensbridge Houses, all right. And the Queensbridge
It's
Houses...
in Long Island City.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are the largest public housing project in the entire United States, I'm told. There are 96 buildings and 15,000 or more people who live there.
And it was built a long time ago, right? In the 30s, wasn't it?
39.
One of the first, 1939, is one of the first ever built.
No, I think it's probably was the 4th or 5th Lower East Side. There was, you know,
Right on
down
Third
there.
Street. Third
Right,
Street houses, of
right.
course, is even earlier, and that's a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
Much smaller scale. And now, you made this film. You really felt the need to make this film because you did an amazing thing. In order to make this film, you basically maxed out all your credit cards. You borrowed money from everybody you knew. You raised money, you know, beg, borrow, steal, whatever you had to do to get the money. And you made this film. Why did you feel a need to make a film, that much of a need to make a film like this?
Well, I live in Queensbridge, and I still do. And I remember one night, and it stuck in the back of my mind, about 10 years ago, my friend lived on 57th and Park. And it was late, and I was taking a cab home, and the driver wouldn't drive me into Queensbridge. He's like, no, I'm not going in there. And I'm like, look, I'll double the tip. I don't care. And he's like, no. Don't even pay me. No, I'm not driving in there.
Frightened?
He was afraid. And rightfully so, but on the other hand, I thought, if he's afraid, what about me? I'm not afraid, come on in. And so he dropped me off, and I had to walk in, and that kind of stuck in the back of my head. And then just going out and doing parties and stuff like that, and people would be like, do you live in Queensbridge? And I go, so what? What's the big deal? I mean, it's a nice community. So I wanted to show the other side to Queensbridge, to public housing, that there are people like me who live there. We're proud of our community.
That's the name of your movie, by the way,
Yes.
Queensbridge, The Other Side, your documentary. And here, I'll bring it up to the camera so folks can get a good look at the cover and see. There's, of course, the bridge that we're standing behind, an earlier picture.
And why don't you tell people where they could go on the internet, too, while we're talking?
You can go to www.queensbridgetheotherside.com and get your own personal copy. And please, can you go and get your own personal copy and support us?
You can see a clip there.
You can see a 3-minute trailer there. We could use your help, so please go and support us.
Now, you focus in the movie on personalities, on people that live there, the real residents.
Yes.
So tell us about some of them.
Well, we focus, residents who live there and ones who have moved from Queensbridge. We have, a lot of people say, nothing good comes out of public housing. We have Judge Carol Mead. She grew up in the projects. Now she's a Supreme Court judge at 60 Center Street. You have Todd Craig, grew up in the projects. His cousin is Mobb Deep from that hip-hop group. And he is a Harvard grad, master's in education. He's now a professor at Queens Community College. And there's so many other, my next door neighbor, there's so many other
what
people.
about the 12th Street girls?
Oh, the 12th.
Tell
me
about
that in
them.
context, because you're talking about a community that has existed and yet has changed. It's gone through changes, but it's existed pretty much in some form or another since 1939.
Yes.
People have lived there, and there's people still there from those days, from the 39,
yes.
40s. A couple people still
Yes.
left. And tell us.
Well, let her tell about the 12th Street
Right,
Girls,
that's
who
what I was
they
saying,
are.
They were the early residents who are still there, right?
Well, no, they moved out back in the 60s.
I see.
And they moved over to Ravenswood, and then from Ravenswood, they moved out to Levittown, Long Island. But, I mean...
And this is a group of
A
women.
group of women that have been friends since the 30s, and they're friends to this day. They
That's
take
so
trips
great.
together. It is absolutely wonderful. They talk about, back then the PAL and how much fun they have. And, they used to play movies back in Queensbridge, back at the Jacob Reese Center, and all of that. This is in the movie. And they would watch the movies, and then during a couple of days later or whatever, they would perform for their parents outside, whether it's in the hallway or it's outside in the playground. And just the amount of fun that they had, that I'm like, wow, their doors were never closed. Kids were playing back and forth, coming in, and I'm like, wow.
You
And
used
in
some
the
of their
clip-
photographs. Go ahead, Alice.
Well, that's what I was saying. In the clip, it looks like they provided you with a lot of archival material.
Yes. Mary Barker, her father, thank God, he was a photographer there. And a lot of his photographs she, gave to us to say, take it, do whatever you want to do. And it's absolutely wonderful. We did, the Daily News did an article, and that's how these ladies came about.
Sure.
Oh, when they found out that you were making a movie.
And they were a little skeptical because Ginger Bauer called me, and she's like, well, I don't want to give you my number because we're not sure. And I said, okay, call me whenever, you're ready, but it's going to be a great piece. We're going to do a positive side about Queensbridge. And then a couple of weeks later, they called and says, okay, we want to do an interview with you. Can you come out to Long Island? And I thought, awesome.
How did Queensbridge get its bad reputation, per se? I mean, it didn't. From what I see in the actual crime statistics, it never was as dangerous as the reputation that it got.
Well, I think back in the 60s, you have heroin was introduced all over the country. And it was introduced also in Queensbridge. And so you find a lot of white families that were living in Queensbridge were moving out to other places. Then you have post-heroin. And then you had crack. So although there were times when it was really violent, there was still family. Everyone looked out for each other. So yeah, in the 80s, it was really bad. But we still had family. People really stuck together. And if you weren't a part of the drug thing, you don't have to worry about anything.
Ada, you mentioned how, in some of the interviews I read and in the film, how folks dealt with the more dangerous times in the 80s and early 90s. You mentioned sort of like the weather. How is that? What did you mean by...
Well,
in the sense of you would just prepare like you would for inclement weather.
Well, yeah, in the 80s when it was really, crack was introduced across the nation. I mean, I think that was the worst thing. I mean, crack took away the fabric that hold the families together, the mamas. And when the mamas became, strung out, then the little babies, I mean,
Right.
you
the whole
just,
thing, right.
exactly. And so, you understand what was going on, but also you have a sense that, that when there were turf wars going on, just stay away. You know that, okay, something is about to pop off right now. Go home, lay low, take the kids out of the park, and do what you have to do.
You told a story where one time your car was getting a ticket, or was it not to get a ticket?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, one of these guys, I'm not going to say he's a drug dealer or anything. I've never seen him selling drugs or anything like that, but folks have it to say that he is. In any case, I heard this pounding sound on my door, and I'm like, he's like, come on, you're about to get a ticket on your car. They're about to tow you. And I thought, so I dragged my clothes on and went outside, and yeah, they were about to ticket me. And, they look out for you. Like I said, if you are not part of that drug scene, then you don't have anything to worry about. I mean, I have grocery bags going upstairs. They'll stop and say, hey, you want some help? And they'll help me take the bag. Don't get me wrong. We do have our problems there, but it is community. I know my neighbors. My neighbors know me. We say hello.
Well, we had a show about New Orleans and a housing project down there that they're trying to Well, people are protesting because they want to tear it down. And the reasoning for them was similar to what you're talking about, was the sense of community, the people who had lived there for so long. And I just wanted to mention that and give a shout out to the people in New Orleans because it's Mardi Gras
St.
together.
Bernard's parish. St. Bernard, not parish, but St. Bernard's.
St. Bernard's Housing Project, right. St. Bernard's Parish is different.
It's a different thing, the Housing Project, right. Tell us a little bit about how the mechanics of how you actually put this film together.
Oh, God.
Because you didn't go to film school, right?
No, I just got
Although
it.
you have a background in the sense of being an actress and model. And
Being an actress, please. I'm not that good. I won't even put it on my resume. No, but, you know, yeah.
Law and Order. Shows, right?
Changing Lanes,
City,
yeah. But, you know, my heart was never into acting. I wanted to be behind the scene and all of that. So I just decided one day, you know what? This can't be that hard. So I'd like to try it out. Yeah. I mean, my parents have never said, you can't do this. You can't. So I had no limitations. So I never thought I couldn't do it. And so I got a camera crew together that almost cost me an arm and a leg. And then I didn't know that to film in Queensbridge, I had to submit to the New York City Housing Authority a $2 million limited liability insurance. Yeah, to film this. I had to go out and get it, and, you know, but there are a lot of things I didn't know, and I found out, and I learned the hard way, and it cost me so much. You know, looking back, there are times when I totally regret doing this. But then when I look at the kids in my neighborhood and the schools that I've gone to show the film, and they look at me and they say, thank you for doing this. You know, it's like...
But at one point you had to connect with someone else to help you do the film because you had really gotten not enough. You spent a lot of money, but hadn't got enough material.
Well, I needed more material, and I went to this DB Republic. They were doing a networking party, and I met a camera guy there, and he turned out to be really nice then. And later on, it was a whole different story. But he helped to have finished the film, and we worked together on it. But it's just a lot. I have so much bills. I was never in debt in my whole life. I mean, so much debt now.
Now, what about the music in the movie?
Well, the music in the movie, most of the music are from Gary Hayes. And
Tell us about him a little.
Gary Hayes is a wonderful songwriter. He's written for, Michael Bolton and so many other people. And I met him through a friend, and he said to me, look, these songs, whatever you want to use, don't use ABC, but there's like 30 other songs. Go ahead, use them. Do whatever you want to do. It's fine.
Well, that was wonderful.
Yeah.
You got to appreciate that.
Yeah. No, I thank God. I thank God for him.
How many people did you actually interview?
I interviewed over 100 people because at the end of the day, when I met my camera, the last camera guy and my editor, I had over 40 hours of footage, and we wind up with about 75 hours worth of footage.
Wow. And where did you actually edit this material?
Queensbridge.
In your apartment?
In my apartment. We got Final Cut HD Pro, edited right there in Queensbridge, filmed right there in Queensbridge.
Oh, wow.
So it's a home grown.
Did you get the $2 million bond you were talking about earlier?
Oh, yeah. Credit cards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, credit cards.
A remarkable thing.
Thank God for plastic.
Now, what about screening the movie? Have you screened it to the residents?
We have screened it to the residents.
What was the reception for that?
Mixed. A lot of folks were like, wow, we didn't know this, and we didn't know that about Queensbridge, and wow. Well, you know, you didn't show the bad side and the shooting last night, and you didn't show the this, and you didn't show the that, and, you know, my father should have been in it, and my mother, and I said, okay, you know what? I can't get everybody in the film. However, if this helps to, evoked conversations about how to make Queensbridge and other housing development better than wonderful.
Sure.
You know, but I'm not here to, you know, talk about your family and
Right.
and all of that. I mean, there's no way. It's an hour.
What's the narrative? How do you tell the story?
The people of Queensbridge tell the story. I didn't want to come in and say, you know, and be that voice behind what's going on. I wanted the people to tell the story about what Queensbridge was like in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, 60s, 70s, up to 2005.
So it's really covering the whole
Yes.
history right up to the present.
Yes.
And did you talk about the future at all? What do you think?
Yes.
What did you
Well,
decide would be the future of Queensbridge?
we talk about the future, and what we would like to see is more educational programs. The good old days when there were really great shops up on the hill, we'd like to see that. We'd like to see, you know, people in the community owning businesses in the community, giving back to the community like I am. I mean, we also are in the process of getting our 501c3 of putting together a non-for-profit company that's called Bridge Pride International, and whatever purchase that is made from the DVD, we take a percentage of that to Bridge Pride International, and that bridge the gap between people living in public housing. And so we want to see more, like I said before, more educational programs. We'd like to see Queensbridge what it used to be like in the 30s and 40s, but better, you know?
Tell us a little bit about the people in general, because I think you mentioned some statistics at the beginning of the film which are interesting and paint a very different picture than what people might think of a housing project in New York City. Some of those numbers were like the numbers of people on welfare are much lower than you would think. Numbers of people working higher than people think.
No, Queensbridge is a working community. I mean, I would say a good 80% of the people there are hardworking families. And a lot of people don't realize that in public housing in general, there's so many people working and there's so many people so not on welfare that they think that, oh, you know, it's a bunch of drug dealers and baby mama dramas and all of that stuff in the projects. And it's not. You know, you have your teachers, your doctors, your lawyers. You know, there's so many people coming out of public housing because housing is necessary. You know, you can build more houses. You can't build more land.
That's right.
And so the need for affordable housing is absolutely necessary.
There's a significant waiting list.
10 years.
10 years?
Okay, if it's such a bad place, why do we have a 10-year waiting list?
To get in there. That's
Yeah.
right.
Do you feel you've had an impact in changing people's yet, or with the film, and changing public perceptions of how public housing in general and Queensbridge in particular?
We have evoked conversations. I don't know. I think later on we'll see, you know, what has happened, because a lot of people look at the film and they go, oh, yeah, it's not like, and I say, have you watched it? No. And I get them to watch it and they're like, well, you know, and yeah, you're right. Like, okay.
Right.
You know, but a lot of people want to glamorize the drugs and the violence, and don't get me wrong, that is there, but it is not the majority of the people who are living there.
Speaking of those subjects, you have, for example, some of the hip hop stars, and some other you have from Queensbridge, the Indiana Pacers, Ron Art.
Ron Artest, now I think he's with Sacramento. Is it Sacramento?
Oh, maybe he's changing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Sports is not our area of expertise.
He's now with Sacramento. Ron Artest is in there. Mobb Deep is in there. Havoc from Mobb Deep is in there.
Yeah, you have quite a list of
Marley
celebrities.
Marl.
Marley Marl, Dr. Bobley, Todd Craig, Cutter.
And these folks all participated, and
Yeah.
did you get support from folks like Marley Marl as far as, you know, he's from the old school hip hop world? Did he give you some support as far as making the film and helping you make it? And...
Well, what do you mean by support? Giving me an interview?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. He gave me an interview. He's in the film.
Yeah.
I've got, so far, the only financial support that I've gotten is from family and friends. And Kathy Nolan, who's our assemblywoman, have donated a couple of dollars to us.
Is she also from the...
Her father and her grandmother lived in Queensbridge.
Really? That's interesting.
So
We have we can take phones to the live show. Our number is on the screen, 212 757-1538.
So call us
And
up.
yeah, you can ask some questions to
Selena.
to Selena, and we could talk about this movie and about Queensbridge and life in public housing. I mean, there's a lot of folks who are watching this right now, probably sitting in a public housing apartment, and they could give some of their experiences and some of the misconceptions, and that are often used for. There was a problem, not so much in New York now, but a problem in other communities, as we talked about before. New Orleans is one, but Chicago and other places where public housing was seen as such a blight that they've been tearing them down. And there's been protests everywhere this happens. People are surprised because they think of public housing as decrepit, or the people there is not, somehow not deserving of housing. And they're surprised when they see folks protesting and over exactly the issue you're saying, community. That we have a community here. You might not see it, you might not appreciate it, but
There's a
the
call
people here,
coming
it's a
in. Should
community.
we,
All right, and we'll take
say
your call. Well, I think we will when they call again.
Oh.
We'll watch for it again. And again, our number is 212-757-1538.
I wanted to ask more about the archival footage. I mean, I saw you had some really old photographs. And did those come exclusively from the residents, or did you go through the library?
No, went through Queens Community, Queens Public Library, and also LaGuardia Archives. We had to pay for those.
Mayor LaGuardia broke the ground for Queensbridge.
Yes,
I saw
absolutely.
that picture. We have a call coming in, and you're on.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, you're on.
Hello.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Oh yes, I'm calling to see how can I get a copy of the DVD?
Go to www.queensbridgetheotherside.com and get a.
We have to stop there. You can give the webpage, but
Yeah.
let's not get too more. We
Okay.
can't go into the details of more than that. But
It is available on the internet, and check
Yeah.
out the website.
check out the website. What's the website again? You can,
www.queensbridgetheotherside.com.
okay.
All right, thanks for calling.
Caller, do you live in public housing?
No, I don't. But this is very
Fascinating
interesting. Thank you.
documentary.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye now.
All right. And hi, you're on.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Fuck you.
Oops. I guess so.
His big
Right.
chance.
Big people's big chance. And so we're talking more about this film. I want to just show folks the cover close-up. There you go. Whoa. And it's called Queensbridge, The Other Side. And
We showed on the back also.
on the
Yeah,
back as well. Oh, here's some of the
Yeah,
famous folks
yeah.
on the back. We were
The
interviewed-
celebrities.
The celebrities
This is a
from
celebrity
Queensbridge.
spot.
There you go. And
Thank you.
and that's what's behind us, by the way, is the Queens Bridge. In other words, the 59th Street Bridge feeling groovy. And it seems like folks in these projects are feeling groovy. I mean, it's not so. It's not quite the nightmarish place that the media and sort of like what the accepted common knowledge of politicians and what have you has always said.
Now, has gentrification come to the Queensbridge projects, like it has, say, to the Lower East Side or the West Village or the...
Well, it's creeping up. They're sandblasting on the north side, and that's a couple $1 million, I think it's costing them to do. Their Silver Cup is building luxury apartments and studios a half a block away.
Oh, isn't that...
A lot of the things,
are changing over
yes,
there.
Amalgamated Bank is coming in the neighborhood. I've been trying to get them, to sponsor us, to be a part, show the film, blah, 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 and basically they're not interested.
And what is the reaction of the residents?
Regarding
The
bank,
gentrification and...
some majority of them love it because that will open up Queensbridge residents to possibilities,
Yes.
As
and
long
jobs.
as there isn't a threat to folks being forced out or evicted to replace them.
Absolutely.
With higher level. I mean, I'm talking about privatization type of thing where, New York isn't. We probably wouldn't in New York tear down a house. You might just make people leave and then replace it with folks who can afford the market type rate rents.
Well, a lot of folks are talking about that they want to turn Queensbridge into a co-op. I don't really know, or condominiums. I don't really know if that is going to happen, but there's been a lot of changes. The place is beautiful. The grounds are much cleaner. We have security cameras in the elevator. We have security cameras in the hallway. There's security cameras all over the place, and it's just gotten much, much cleaner.
Yeah.
It's changing. It's changing so much that sometimes I look around. I mean, I can walk over the 59th Street Bridge and be in Manhattan within 20 minutes.
Oh, that's great. So you don't
Yeah.
have to take public transportation.
No, half the times I'm broke.
So you're walking. Good exercise.
Yeah, I just look
You
at it
need to
that
go to
way.
the gym.
Absolutely.
Do we have a call if we're courageous enough to take it? Hi, you're on.
Hello?
Fuck you.
Oh,
It's the same kid.
Same guy. You're on.
Wow.
Well, don't worry, we'll cut him out. Let's talk a little bit about the future and the possibility. We hope that we don't have a gentrification and a privatization problem in the sense of threatening the folks who are living there, like we've seen happen in our community in the Lower East Side, where it's changed so much and so many people have been forced to move. I mean, housing such as Queensbridge was meant for working people,
Yes.
low-income working people, and it should continue as such. What do you see as the future for Queensbridge houses?
Well, wow. What I would like to see, for Queensbridge Housing is for them to continue what they're doing in taking care of the place, cleaning it up, and making it affordable and still affordable for the residents. So someone who's been living there for 20, 30 years, all of a sudden should be
Shouldn't be
looking,
displaced, right?
for a new home. That's what I'd like to see, bringing more educational programs in for the young men and women who are living in public housing. Because if you look at a lot of the public housing that's around, you don't see a lot of educational programs there. You don't see a Y, you don't see a park and recreation center that's close by where the kids can go, where the young men can go play basketball, kickboxing, whatever. You need to bring more athletic programs, and you need to go into these communities.
Are there community centers there? I noticed there's a Jacob Reese Center.
There is a Jacob Reese Community Center, but the people have outgrown it, and it's doing a wonderful job. It's doing a wonderful job. It's just the spillover. We need more. We need more. It's not enough. We need more to get these young. I'm not saying you're going to get every young man off the street and, they want to be an entrepreneur and sell drugs. Who am I to tell them what to do and what not to do? I would prefer if you don't. However, provide programs there for them that they readily will just run to.
Okay.
Well, people can see an alternative.
Yes.
Your webpage again?
www.queensbridgetheotherside.com.
And any last words in the last 10 seconds?
I would love everyone to go onto the website, get your personal copy, support us. We're an independent filmmaker, and we'd love to get the word out. We need your help.
And
We
you're
need
getting
your
your
support.
nonprofit. You're working on your nonprofit.
We're working on our nonprofit. It's called Bridge Pride International.
See you next week.
All right.
We're going to
Thanks
talk to
for coming.
SDS next week. And thanks for tuning in to Let Them Talk.
All right.
Thank you.